Parak Yudal, the 14th chapter of the book of Mishlei, begins Chachmot Nashim Binta Beita V'ivelet Biadeha Teher Senu. The wisest of women builds her house, but folly tears it down with its own hands. So be careful. But here, right, this traditional family values. Where is the wisdom of the woman? It's Bibeita. It's in her house. It's the raising of her family, the building of the house. Holech biashro yirei Adonai unelos derachav bozeu. He who keeps his integrity fears God. A man of devious ways scorns God. Befi evil choter ga'ava b'siftei chachamim tishmureim. In the mouth of a fool is a rod of haughtiness, but the lips of the wise protect them. Again, very much what we've had. The lips, the way a person speaks is going to define if they are wicked or they are righteous. Sure, if there are no oxen, the crib is clean, but a rich harvest comes through the strength of the ox. An honest witness doesn't lie. A false witness testifies lies. I mean, I guess that's the definition of each one. A scoffer speaks wisdom in vain. It's like the person who's looking only for the problems. But knowledge comes easily to the intelligent man, right? You have people, you go to a lecture, you listen. Some people listen to understand things, and some people listen to just find a hole in the theory of the lecturer. What can I tell him he's doing wrong, or she's doing wrong, or she said incorrectly? Leif, we're in verse 7, pasuk zayin, keep your distance from the dull, from the fool, for you will not learn wise speech. Again, continuation for many of the chapters here, the wise versus the dull. It is the wisdom of a clever man to understand his course, but the stupidity of the fool is delusion. You think you're wise, but really you are a fool. Reparations mediate between fools, between the upright. There will be goodwill. Continuing pasuk Yud, Lev Yodei Marat Nafsho v'Simchato Lo Yitarav Zar. The heart alone knows its bitterness, and no outsider can share in its joy. An interesting verse, this verse 10. Right? People know themselves. People understand things. That doesn't mean we shouldn't ask other people, but self-awareness is important, and self-awareness is unfortunately sometimes the bitterness, the things that make you sad, and it's important to know yourself and understand what's going on in your life, right? And here it says an outsider cannot share in its own joy. It's ultimately, you should have people, friends, spouses, family members you can share with, but in many ways, the heart alone knows its bitterness. People themselves know mostly about themselves. Beit Rishaim Yishamed ve'oel Yisharim Yafrichu. The house of the wicked will be demolished, but the tent of the upright will flourish. Yesh derech yashar lifnei ish v'acharita darchei mavet. A road may seem right to a man, but the end, it's a road to death, right? Things look good. Sometimes things look great, but this may be a road to transgression. This may be a road of wickedness. So just because something looks good doesn't mean that it's necessarily the case. We're in verse Yud Gimel, Gam bischoch yachav levach rita simcha tuga. The heart may ache even in laughter, and joy may end in grief. Again, to continue off that last verse, midrachav yispah suchlev ume'alav ish tov. An unprincipled man reaps the fruits of his ways. A good man of his deeds. So here we turn from the wicked to the righteous. The righteous are going to get rewarded. Is this be'olam hazeh? Is this in this world? Is this in the next world? We don't know. Peti ya'amin l'chol davar v'yarum yavin le'ashuro. A simple person believes anything. A clever man ponders his course in life. It's not enough to just go on the road. You have to think about, am I doing what's right? A wise man is diffident and shuns evil, but a dull, the foolish person, rushes in confidently. Again, being thoughtful, considering things before you just go for it. The foolish one who takes whatever deal they can, thinking it's a good deal, in a business sense. An impatient man commits folly. A man of intrigues will be hated. Why? Perhaps because, at least according to some of the commentaries here, he's taking the ideas from the wicked. Folly is the lot of the simple, but a clever man, glory and knowledge. Again, think of the naive who unfortunately are easily taken advantage of. The clever man can figure out that he or woman, there is an attempted fraud, there's attempt of trickery. That doesn't mean, of course, people committing the fraud are the real sinners, but a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of shrewdness, a little bit of thought rather than just rushing into things. Shahu ra'im lifnei tovim rushaim al sha'arei tzaddik. Evil men are brought low before the good. So are the wicked at the gates of the righteous. I'll say, as I said many times in the previous chapter, if life was just this simple. Gam l're'ehu yisana rash v'ohavei ashir rabim. A pauper is despised even by his peers, but a rich man has many friends. Let me just go back to that verse 19. These other things, at least we see sometimes it takes way too long. But when you see, kaharif ayin in a quick moment, that somebody like Bashar al-Assad is no longer in control of his country, at least we can see sometimes that ultimately the righteous get at least somewhat what's coming to them. I don't know, him having asylum in Russia is really what he deserves and what's coming to him, but at least he has been. He's no longer sitting there with his car collection and all the other things that are being shown that were in his palace, as he, was obviously such an evil man to his beloved Syrian people. Gam l're'ehu yisana rash, verse 20, v'ohavei ashir rabim. A pauper is despised even by his peers, but a rich man has many friends. It's a sad reality, right? The rich are the popular ones. So here, there are those who want to understand it. Commentaries say here that the poor man here is not poor in necessarily in pauper in money, but this is somebody who's poor in wisdom, perhaps. He who despises his fellow is wrong. He who shows pity for the lowly is happy. Surely those who plan evil go astray. Well, those who plan good things, they will get chesed v'emet, they will get love and kindness, right? So it might not happen right away, but ultimately, right, the wicked will get what's coming to them. B'chol etzev yemotar udvar sfatayim ach lemach sor. From all the toil, there is some gain, but idle chatter is pure loss. We've seen this in a number of different places, different ways. But if you work, if you prepare, ultimately you will be rewarded. Luck comes to those who work hard. Ateret chachamim oshram ivelet ksilim ivelet. The ornament of the wise is their wealth. The stupidity of the fools is their stupidity. Commentaries try to say that this is not specifically monetary wealth, but it's the wealth of the knowledge of Torah, of wisdom, of moral wisdom. So not simply wealth. Matzil nefashot eid emet v'afiach tzavim mirma. A truthful witness saves life, but he who lies spreads mirma, spreads deceit. Birat, we're in verse 26. Birat Adonai miftach oz ulevanav yemachzeh. Fear of God is a stronghold, a refuge for man's children. Yirat Adonai makor chayim lasur mimokshe mavet. Fear of God is the fountain of life, enabling one to avoid the deadly trap. Same verse like we had in the last chapter. We talked numerous times there about chayim, about life that comes out of relationship with God, out of chachma, out of wisdom, out of listening to that which people suggest to you. Barov am hadrat melech uve'efes la'om mitachat razon. Numerous people is the glory of the king. Without a nation, a ruler is ruined. The first half of this verse 28, Barov am hadrat melech, is a very important verse in halacha. That talks about the importance of being part of doing things in community and with a large group of people. It's better when you have 100 people in shul. It's better than having 27 people in shul. It's berovam hadras melech. It's more glorious to God to have a multiplicity, a large crowd. The same way certain presidents like to talk about how many people come to their inauguration. Patient results in understanding. Erech HaPayim is one of the qualities of the Yud Gimel Midot, 13 attributes of God. We talk about God being slow to anger. So one who's patient gains understanding. Impatient gets folly as its portion, right? You get impatient, you get angry, you make a decision that's rash. A calm disposition gives health, Passion is rot to the bone. So not everything about passion is so terrible, but I guess this would be more of a zealousness, a passion, a person who is so intent upon something that they become self-destructive. He who withholds what is due to the poor gives it's an affront. It's an insult to God. He who shows pity for the needy honors God by doing this. So he writes in the verse that talks about the way that you act is going to bring glory to God or not. By the way, this verse, this Chirev Dal Chirev Osehu, I don't know if it's exactly this verse. There's a verse like it where it talks about how you're not supposed to wear tzitzit. Your tzitzit cannot be out in the cemetery because it's an affront to the dead. The dead cannot perform mitzvot anymore. They've passed away. They're no longer in this world. We said in Tehillim, Lo Ametim Hallelujah. The dead cannot praise God. David asked God constantly, keep me alive. The dead can't praise you. And so here from this verse, we have a verse, Lo Egle Reish Chirefo Say, who I believe is what the Gemara says. I don't know if it's a combination of this verse and another verse, but it's insulting to the dead, right? To be having your tzitzit out in the cemetery because they cannot put on tzitzit. Continuing verse 32, Pasuk Lamed Gimel. The wicked man is felled by his own evil. The righteous man finds security in his death. Wisdom rests quietly with the wise man, with the prudent man. But amongst the fools, the ksilim, those who are dull, it makes itself known. Righteousness raises up a nation. Sin is a reproach to any people. The king favors a capable servant. He rages at an incompetent one. And here we've chapter with a lot of different themes, a lot of different things that are sort of being said in this chapter. And it's really a chapter that just has a lot of different mishalim. We talked about this in the past, that after sort of the first 10 chapters, we'll have certain themes and certain things that we come back to, but it's much less strongly themed like in the first 10 chapters. A lot of obviously wicked versus righteous, a lot of about who you hang out with is going to influence who you are as a person, a lot about speech, but a variety of different statements that sort of come together with that as the general theme, the yin and the yang, the righteous and the wicked, from a variety of different perspectives without seemingly a central theme. It's Mishlei, it's Mishalem, it's parables, numerous different parables, perhaps an attempt to put together to make some sort of themes, but some of the chapters are not fully tight because it is just a number of different statements, somewhat related, that are placed together here in this chapter.